Hello there, my beautiful soul fams. My name is Catalina. Welcome back to my channel, Moonlight Awakening. Yes, I'm an awakening coach. I also do angel readings, energy readings, and I also make handmade jewelry. Just like this one. This one is like an angel with a halo on. I think that's really cute. And yes, but my Etsy shop is closed, but I'm still selling on my Facebook page and on my Instagram. And if you're interested but you don't have social media, that's why I also have an email for you. Okay, if you have any questions, but yeah. And I'm also on Patreon. Okay, so I'm super excited because I'm doing different things there. If you like to support me, even more, I will leave the link below. Okay, and yeah, I'm doing exclusive things only for you guys, for just show my appreciation for your extra support. And I think that's it. Okay. So this is the thing. Sometimes we always had fairies around us, but we didn't really know they were there, until you noticed. I don't know, until like me, when eventually I was like, hey, I captured a fairy on video, But anyway, just a little history about the fairies. But if you want to learn more about the fairies, please, you can do definitely more of your research, because there's so much things to learn about them. Okay, so anyway, so yes, the fairies used to live in our dimension, but eventually their earth became really dense, right? And since they're high vibrational fairies, they had to move to another high vibrational dimension. But yeah, they did come through portals here. And yes, but the good news that definitely they're be able to literally live in our dimension now, since Earth finally raising in vibrations. And for we all have helped her, right, to get there. So it's super exciting. And a fairy's job is to help and assist our planet Earth, to help and assist any living being on this planet, even the animals, the creatures of the earth, and us, if you want their help and assistance. Okay, so, and yeah, so fairies aren't spirits, they're actually elementals. There's different kinds of fairies. Okay, there's fire fairies, water fairies, air fairies, earth fairies, flower fairies, mountain fairies, all kinds of fairies. Okay, and there's also queen fairies out there. Yeah, and the queen fairies are usually slightly larger than the regular fairies, but yeah. And fairies don't live forever. Okay, they do not live forever. Kinda, because like an example, the flowers that you see, any flower that you see, there's a flower fairy there. A tree fairy, there's a tree fairy there. Even there's also tree fairies. So anyway, eventually when that flower dies, they die with it. And that's, again, the cycle of life. And if they choose to come back as a fairy, they definitely can, or or if you want to, or they want to come back to an incarnated fairy, like a human. Let's just say now if the fairy chooses to become a human now, like you and me, that's why they're called incarnated fairies. Yes, I have met an incarnated fairy, and yeah. So, and if you want to know more signs, if you could be an incarnated fairy, I would definitely leave that link below. Okay, so and yes, fairies do work close with the angels. And not only, and I'm super excited to say this. I didn't want to say anything, but I was like, no, I want to say it. I'm practicing to do fairy light language, so definitely keep a lookout for that. Okay, I don't know when, but just letting you know. So yes, I can't wait for that. Okay, so okay, so before I start on the signs that you could have a fairy around you, just know, only because you don't have to have all these signs to know to know if you have a fairy around you. For example, so yeah, even if you have one or two signs, that's good enough. Like, you don't have to have all of these, because yes, I always had fairies around me, but I don't have all the signs, but at least I know there is a fairy. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so the first sign is you start you could hearing soft chiming bells come out of nowhere. Remember, this is areas where, like, places that you don't even, you know what I mean? Like, something that out of nowhere, right? And another sign is, out of nowhere, you also start smelling sweet flowers or honey, and that's probably because you have a fairy around you, especially the flowers. They love flowers. So another sign you could definitely have a fairy around you if animals around you start acting weird and strange. Because again, the fairies love the birds, the butterflies, nature. They love every animal in this planet, right? And one of them could also be, and part of it could also be you're always seeing butterflies around you everywhere you go, because they're playing with the butterflies. And part of it also is when birds are around you, they start singing. And or your pets start acting very strange. It seems like they're playing with something or with someone. They could, and definitely when I'm playing with my pet or spending time with my husky, oh, I just love her to death. She will act. I don't know. She's always looks like she's always like looking at something. She's always like moving her head around. I'm definitely going to show you if you haven't seen my white husky yet. So she's like, like very strange. I'm like, I wonder where she's looking at. So yeah, so Also, another sign is that when you wake up in the morning, you start noticing that something has moved in your room or something goes missing. For example, especially any jewelry or shiny objects, because fairies love anything sparkly and shiny. Okay, yes, I love me sparkles too. I love sparkles. But yeah, not only that, also other items. Maybe your keys, maybe your pens, your wallet. Again, they just they do it because they're trying to like have fun with you. Like, hey, you be taking life you're being a little too serious, or they just like have fun with you. We'll just hide your keys or whatever. Yeah. For example, my boyfriend. Okay, he has his work pants. They're either in one place or the other. Okay, and they're always where you can easily see them. Well, that day when I captured the fairy, in a live video, the next day, he was like, "Where's my work pants?" Because he woke up around 5 in the morning and he's asking me, "Where's the work pants?" I was like, "My work pants. Where'd you put them?" I'm like, "I didn't take them. I didn't." Like, I always put them somewhere where you can see them in the usual spots, but he believes that I took them. But it's like, I didn't take them. It wasn't me. Literally, like, and I told him, hey, I'm just letting you know, fairies like to love hiding things, so they probably took them. They probably took. That's what I told him. They probably took them. And obviously, he was in a rush to go, so obviously he didn't look. And I'm pretty sure the fairies were like, hey, he's been a little too serious lately. Let's have fun. Let's hide his work pen. You know, things like that. And the funny thing, when I did the live video, it was funny because we received the lost and found fairy message. And it was funny because the next day his pants are missing. I was like, okay, I guess I need to call in the lost and found fairy, you know, to give me those clues, to tell me, hey, where did you hide his work pants? Oh, yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny. Pretty interesting. So anyway, another sign that you could definitely have fairies around you, that sounds and music, you start hearing sounds or music, especially not from this world. You know, you could be out somewhere like in nature, or like, you know, things like that. Because again, fairies love music and dancing. So it makes a lot of sense why incarnated fairies, they tend to be party animals. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. They go clubbing, partying, because, you know, that's what they love. So it's I think it's pretty interesting. But anyway, but it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so anyway, another sign that you could have fairies nearby is that your milk and beer start going bad and candies go missing. Yes, fairies do have a sweet tooth. They truly do, for pastries and all that yumminess. Okay, and yes, fairies do drink milk too. Actually, centuries ago, the milk farmers in Ireland will leave them milk to keep them happy, because they felt like having a happy fairy was less likely to cause trouble, you know, on the farm. So yeah, they will leave him in a bowl, in a good, decent bowl. Okay, and not only that, also your milk and beer will expire before the expiration date. And you might also notice that there's less milk, like especially if maybe you're living by yourself, you know, or whatever. You just know, hey, someone's been drinking my milk, and just let them know, hey, can you not please drink my milk? That'd be greatly appreciative, you know. But yeah, only if you want to leave him in a bowl, some milk for them to touch only. It's all on you, you know. So anyway, yes. Another sign you could definitely have fairies nearby. When flowers begin to grow near your room, especially when you know you didn't plant them at all. Okay, because you know fairies love flowers. Okay, and especially they especially love dandelions and daisies. Okay, so yeah, they will scatter the seeds near your room. No, there isn't any flowers near my room, but where I'm at right now, there's always, like, since I've moved here with my boyfriend and his parents, they always have a bunch of dandelions here. Literally always. Oh, they have always, like this, especially during a specific season, they keep sprouting out of nowhere, the dandelions. So yeah, there's definitely dandelions here. And yeah, so so another sign that you could have fairies nearby you, you might experience gentle tingling, or tickling on certain parts of your body, or a poking sensation, like they're dabbing you with their finger. with their itty bitty finger. Again, you might feel them on the nose. You always feel this little ticklish on your nose. You can feel them also on your cheek, or maybe on your ankles, because of their flappy wings. That's why that's why you might be really ticklish, because of their wings. That's what gives you, tickling sensation, and they can also be giving you fairy kisses, especially when you're laying down, when you're relaxing, things like that. And literally, I have, I feel ticklish in my nose very often, and also my cheek. I felt my cheek. I have felt my ankle while I'm doing errands. I'm feeling my ankle. I'm like, there's definitely a fairy hanging around me for sure, near my ankles. But yeah, another sign also is that you have fairies nearby you is when you start seeing spheres of light. So the spheres of light are very common. It's like when you see like spheres of light. It's like when you see like a little lights, like flying. And as you know, if you haven't seen that video where I captured a fairy dancing, I will post it here too, and you can see like the fairy dancing, and you see the little legs, the wings. It was so cool to capture that. Not only that, I actually, when I did the full moon reading, the hunter's full moon reading, I'm not like, I was seeing little like spheres of light in one side. I did see that, especially when I after that I went live on Facebook and then on Instagram to do fairy readings for free. Fairy readings, and I'm not joking. Like on Facebook live and on Instagram, I was there at the same time. I have both at the same time live, and I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't delete them. I'm like, no, I'm leaving them on. And I was like, it was so cool because you will see like on Instagram, on my phone, you will see all these little lights like passing by. And it was so cool. And then on Facebook, you will see all these also little like lights too, spheres of light, like little tiny orbs. I kept seeing them. It was so cool. They were constantly showing up on my Instagram live and on Facebook live. It was so cool. Oh my gosh. And I captured another fairy, but this time this fairy had like an orangey reddish color. I'm not really sure. At first it looked like a butterfly. Like there's like a butterfly in the room, because it shows like I'm gonna show it. Oh my god! I was like, oh my gosh! It was so cool. Okay, so first it looks like a little tiny green, orangey or reddish dot coming from in one side, and then first it looks like a dot, and then the more it keeps going up and up and up, it starts having you start seeing like a figure with color. You see the wings and color. It was so beautiful. It looked like maybe there was like a butterfly or something. It was the coolest thing ever. If you see anything here, maybe some little orbs, tiny spheres of light, then definitely that's them. Oh my, that was so cool. I'm like, you know what? I was thinking of deleting this live, but not no more. And yeah, I will also post some pictures on it too. Post pictures of it. Oh my god, so cool. And literally, I was doing fairy messages, and they were really coming by, and they were popping like crazy. I will leave that link when I went Facebook live, and I will try to see if I can put the Instagram when I went Instagram live. I'll see if I can find a link. I'll figure it out. You'll know when you look below in the description below. You'll know if I was able to do it or not. Oh my god, it's so cool. It's so cool. But I couldn't capture it. I didn't capture it on Instagram because it didn't show up there. It didn't. okay, because of direction, because the phone was facing in a different direction compared to the laptop. So that's that. Okay, so that was exciting. I was like, cool. Okay, so I love capturing things, cameras and things like that. But not only that, another sign that could be fairies nearby when you start seeing mushroom circles, and that's where usually like fairies live, in mushrooms too. So do not disturb their home, because there's those are their homes, so definitely respect that. Or someone that just let them know, hey, there's a fairy around this area, you're living in those mushroom homes, okay? So also, another sign you can have fairies nearby when you see some fairy dust. Because again, on that video that I captured, that I showed you the first time I captured that fairy dancing with the legs, I can clearly see like the fairy was leaving some type of fairy dust behind. I can literally see that. I don't know if you guys were able to capture that, especially the bigger screen. I have, if you want to put it on your if you don't have a laptop or computer, then put it on your TV. Okay, because my friend did that. I'm like, hey, I don't have a bigger screen, I'm gonna put it on my TV. And she was like, whoa, I can clearly see what's happening. So yeah, so that was pretty neat, because again, they're little, they're because of their wings, it leaves their fairy dust, and not only that, like one of my clients too, I was like, we were video chatting together, and I was in the same room, where you saw the fairy dancing, in the same room right there. And then I was wearing my crystal crown that I made, okay? And then she noticed that, again, like, because I can, like, for me, I see myself like a very tiny square, and then I see her perfectly. Since she was able to see me perfectly in a bigger screen, she started noticing like some sparkles near my crown, and like it's like, oh my gosh, I saw something, and it was like sparkly, and she's like, oh, I got so many chills when she saw that. I'm like, oh, cool. I was like, it could be the fairies. When I was thinking that, like, it could be the fairies around me. So that was pretty cool, and she saw that with her own eyes. So I couldn't see, I was too small in the corner. So anyway, and lastly, when you have fairies nearby, is when you start hearing like laughter or little giggles, especially maybe when you're laying down or whatever. It's just out of nowhere, you start hearing like little giggles near you. And a great example is about my ex-coworker, because we used to work together. He was a cook. Okay, we used to work in the kitchen together. I wasn't a cook, but he was. And anyway, a few days, so he came to me for an angel reading, and then a few days later he sent me a message. It's like, hey, I know I'm not going mad, I'm not going crazy, I know that, but like I've been hearing like giggles, and then like something's poking me, because they're, and I knew, and then from there I was like, I thought it was funny. I was like, oh my gosh, sounds like you have fairies around you. And I even confirmed with my friends, to confirm with my friend if, hey, do you think he does have, fairies around him? She's like, yeah, yes, he does. Like, okay, cool. And yeah, so that was pretty neat. And he's not even spiritual awakened. You think, do I need to be spiritual awakened for me to have fairies around me? Of course not. No, because like maybe he always had fairies around him when he was a child. Maybe there's a fairy portal, in his yard. Maybe her mom or her girlfriend or whoever did like a fairy, created a fairy garden for them. Things like that. So again, or maybe because they just love his energy. They just love him. They love his energy and everything about him. So, so again, you have to be spiritual awakened to have fairies around you. Okay, so it can be many things. And I feel like it was mostly because when he was a child, I think he was very connected with the fairies. That's how I felt. But technically, I always had fairies around me, So anyway, and I'm pretty sure he did too. So and now the fairies are showing up in his life. I think it's really really cool. And then I give him fairy messages. I connected with his fairies after that. So because I do have a fairy deck, so I think that was pretty cool. But yeah, so anyway, let me know if you feel like you also have fairies nearby, if you captured anything. I would really really love to know. So anyway, like and subscribe for more videos to help you on your spiritual awakening journey. And until next time, bye.